Good morning, YouTube. All right, we are in the middle of soup season, one of my favorite times of year, and it is time to do something delicious and satisfying. Let's make a creamy cauliflower soup, garnished with a little bit of bacon, a little sunflower seeds. It's perfect. All right, let's cook, y'all. We got a family to feed. All right, so the weather yesterday was gorgeous, and today it's pretty frightful. Right now it's about 30 degrees, and we had snow come in starting about 4 o'clock this morning, so it was just enough that all the kids were like, yeah, I'm gonna sleep in, and I got to go say, no, you just get a delay. So they were all mad. Okay, great. All right, so over here, let me show you what I'm doing. 1 head of cauliflower, and I just cut it into pieces like this, okay? I have an admission to make. I had just done a giant stock up at the big box store, and my sister got ill, and I go running out of town, and a lot of the veggies I had ended up not being at their absolute best, including that head of cauliflower. That's all right, I just trimmed it. It had a couple spots on it that were starting to look a little iffy. Not something I would want to serve, but I trimmed the little spots that had started to turn, not really even brown, they just were not pretty and white anymore. So I trimmed all those off. All right, so I added a quart of chicken stock and a sprinkle of salt. Some nice cracked black pepper. I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer, and I'm gonna let that simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. I want that cauliflower to get nice and soft. And in the meantime, there we go. Focus. In the meantime, I'm gonna get another pot. We're gonna start our aromatics. Then we're gonna bring it all together, and it's gonna be amazing. All right, we're doing our next step. So our cauliflower is back here. It has not yet come up to a boil, but we're gonna let that come up to a boil. And in the meantime, we're gonna do this. I have about 3 tablespoons of butter. That's going in a big old pot over here on the stove on medium-low heat. And I also diced up a carrot and 1 white onion. That's going right in with the butter. And we're gonna keep it on relatively low heat. We really just wanna sweat all these vegetables. We do wanna get them nice and soft. We wanna develop a lot of fragrance. We wanna do all kind of come together and start getting luscious. This is all forming the flavor base of our soup. So we've got the cauliflower in the chicken broth. You notice, I didn't use homemade chicken broth, so I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you can make it from scratch, great. And if you can't, don't knock yourself out about it. All right, so this was 3 cloves of garlic, and that's gonna go in this pot. Let's see, can I get the rest of that in there? Yeah, I did. Well, there we go. So these are all going to sweat together, and I'm going to put a few seasonings in here with the onion and carrot, but just a little bit. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I like simple, especially when simple is the best way to do it. All right, so to this, we're going, oh no, that's the wrong thing. All right, somewhere in here, I have fresh thyme. I just have to find it, so I'm not gonna make you wait while I find all my fresh thyme. But what we are gonna do is add a couple of teaspoons of kosher salt. Just gonna help everything release the juices. And black pepper. All right, and then this is what we look like. Let me give this a stir. All right, so here's where we are. Here's our cauliflower, almost up at a boil, okay? Don't worry about that much liquid. We're gonna save all of it, but we're gonna get as much flavor into the liquid as possible. That's why we're simmering in the same stock we're gonna make our soup base with. And then here's our aromatics, and we're gonna let these go for about the same 20 minutes that the cauliflower needs to cook. That Couldn't be any easier. All right, so don't do what I did, which is get distracted. And I almost got too much color on my veggies, right? Almost. I caught those at the last possible moment before they went too far, right? Those are on the edge. This, however, they're perfect. Okay, that's cauliflower has gotten nice and soft. I'm just steaming up the camera, aren't I? Nice and soft, and this is ready to go. So here's what we're gonna do next. All right, so we have our food processor, and you can use whatever equipment you like to work with. I like my food processor, even though we have quite a few disagreements on a regular basis. But you can use a blender if you want to. You can use an immersion blender too if you want to. An immersion blender, I've had them, I've used them, they're fine. I find the food processor a lot more versatile, so this tends to be my go-to. And here's the other thing, y'all. You don't have to do this step, you know, or you can do part of this step. Meaning, if you want your soup to be chunky, keep it chunky. You don't have to do this. Or, I know lots of folks will do half and half. So they might puree half of their ingredients and keep half chunky. I've seen that a lot. That happens a lot with bean soups. So it is entirely your preference. Now, I am taking out the solids, and of course we're going to recombine all this in a minute. So why bother? Well, the only reason I'm bothering is to make it easier to deal with boiling hot liquid when you start to whirl it around in your food processor, because it'll go flying everywhere. Oh, and you know I mentioned the fresh thyme and I wasn't able to find it. I forgot I used it all yesterday. Blake needed marinara for something with school. I don't entirely know what was going on there. And I forgot I used all my marinara. Oh, sorry, I used all my fresh thyme in the marinara, which is okay because I'm going to do a trick here in a second. All right, so I prefer fresh thyme. That is by far my favorite herb. That and fresh parsley. But I do keep dried thyme as an emergency backup. So I've got a lot of steam is what I've got. I've got 2 teaspoons fresh thyme. So that's going to go right in there. All right, now I may need some of this cooking liquid. What is that? Oh dear. We got to rethink this. Where'd that come from? All right. So I don't know what happened. That came off my food processor. And I know if that's not on there, that's broken. It's not just a piece that came off. It actually cracked. And I can't quite figure out how to... That's okay. Because I come from a long line of tinkerers. So I'm just kind of rigging it for a bit. So you can see that's getting nicely pureed, but it's pretty thick. Just to loosen everything up. Now I'm mad. Just to loosen everything up, I'm going to give it a little bit of the cooking liquid to help it come together a little bit. I can't believe that broke. And you know what? It might be one of those things that, I hope not. Sometimes you go to buy a replacement part for something, and the replacement piece is so expensive, you're like, why don't I just get a new one? I hope not. Because I do use this all the time. Alright, so this is what we're after. We're getting nice and smooth. Probably would not be amiss to add just a touch more of the cooking liquid. But you can see that's getting very smooth and very homogeneous, which is what we want. And honestly, y'all, take a minute here and give it a taste. This is where you're going to adjust your seasonings. Now, I have a few bits of pepper and some cauliflower. And I don't know, what else is in here? Not sure. Chunky bits. So just to make sure my finished product is nice and smooth, I ran it through the strainer. I got those bits out. There we go. That is going to be perfect. Oh yeah, y'all. Check this out. See that? That is exactly right. All right, let me grab my other pan. We're gonna go back to the stove and we're gonna finish that off. All right, so I'm doing that thing where I forget to hit record again. Ugh. All right, so I've got it on a relatively low heat, and all I did was I put my soup mixture back in here and I threw in 1 cup of half and half and half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now be careful, keep this on low, bring it up to temperature nice and slowly, because it's hot. But the best thing, it's nice and thick and creamy, which means it turns into lava. It's pretty viscous, and even at a relatively low temperature, it will spit soup all over the stove. And you'll end up wearing it, and your stove will end up wearing it. But look at this. See that? See how nice and thick that is? Okay, we're gonna keep it on the heat for just a minute, but as soon as it's warm enough, we're ready to serve. How fast and easy is that? That's a pretty good trick. Okay, nice and hot, but just to the point of a boil. You don't want to overdo it. Once you've added cream and cheese, you want to be kind of judicious with the heat. What I like to do, a little bit of bacon, and if you didn't use up all your fresh thyme, throw a few thyme leaves on there as well, or if you did use all your thyme inadvertently, or not, either way, this would be great with or without some fresh chives. Perfect. Just because it's nice, because we can. We have some dry roasted sesame seeds, or not sesame seeds, what are these? Sunflower seeds. It's just like a perfect little bit of crunch. All right. So there's what we look like. Pretty, huh? Yes. But better than that, y'all. All right, I'm gonna get a picture of that one. This is the one I taste. Oh, man, that's everything you want out of a bowl of soup. That's how you do it. Hey YouTube, thanks for watching, and if you thought that video was helpful, do me a huge favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get a notification whenever I post a new video. And if you have a second, hop on over to Patreon and check out how to support my channel even more. Again, thanks for watching.